This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Hunkered down as it's still quite snowy out there. The cleanup continues for somebody who's been on the road. Main roads are, still the day after a storm. There's still maybe some wet roads and some slush. The side roads, though, they're definitely still snowy, and there's still a cleanup underway. So kind of a situation of, by the time we get into this afternoon or this evening, I think things will be cleared up. But if you don't have to go out, still one of those situations where just stick around the house for another few hours or so and let them get the cleanup done. But the travel wasn't bad this morning. The cleanup is underway. I stuck in the house yesterday, however, because yesterday was a whole different story. But we're in March. We're on the downhill slope, as it were, and we can watch maybe a little Tampa or Gulfstream racing today and get our sunshine fix that way. Speaking of Gulfstream Park, thanks to them for their sponsorship. Gulfstream Park. Champions start here. We appreciate their sponsorship of this program, some of the other programming and events here on the network. Coming up a little bit later on the show, Jeremy Plante, CoursePlayerNow.com, Countdown to the Crown, Night School, and more. We'll talk some three-year-old action, limited three-year-old action this past weekend, but the Rebel comes up this coming Saturday, and we'll get some other thoughts on just how we are proceeding along the Derby Trail with Jeremy, and then John McGarry from Mahoning Valley coming up a little bit after that. They will be racing at Mahoning, but we have gotten word a couple of the harness tracks are done for today as far as weather-wise. Monticello and Buffalo getting a little weather reprieve today, so they're out of the mix for this afternoon, this evening, and if you handicap them, put it back in the holster for tomorrow and see what you can do. All right, as it is Wednesday morning, that means a visit from Shannon Donovan at the marketing department. Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning, Seth. How are you?
Very good. Happy to have you on board. Talk a little bit about the promos and events coming up. One of the promos we're going to talk about is the college basketball scene, but I just want to know. I know you're going to have the NCAAs on, but maybe one TV for the NIT tonight, Syracuse?
Oh, you definitely got to watch the Cuse tonight, yeah. And I just listened to some of the stats coming in and some of the scores from last night. I guess Monmouth got beat last night.
Yeah, Monmouth got beat.
So, yeah.
I was watching late. There was a couple NIT games on last night, and I was watching late the Cal State California game, and I have to admit, I missed the first probably 15 minutes. I started watching maybe 5 minutes left in the first half, and by then, Cal was the number one seed, was one of the number one seeds, and they got beat. But by the time I turned on, they were down about 20 points, and it stayed that way. And it was brutal. It was brutal to watch. There must have been some good offense early, because after that point, it was. Oof.
Well, I think you got to remember too is some of these teams, they get down early in NIT. Some of these kids, they might pack it in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if they feel there's nothing else left,
yeah,
and they pretty much look like they're beaten, they kind of pack it in. But the seniors are going to play hard because the seniors going to continue playing. Yeah. So I think in NIT, because the parity so much in college basketball, I think you're going to see a lot of upsets. Yeah. But Syracuse needs a win tonight after Boeheim's press conference regarding the ACC in Greensboro. He had a few comments regarding ACC in Greensboro. So I think he wants to make sure that they get a win tonight, because otherwise they're going to be all over him.
A little wink and a nudge from the NIT seeding committee there. So it should be fun. Syracuse, they were a victim of the weather last night. That game was supposed to be last night, but moved to tonight, and the tournament kicks off. And
I like to see them have some success, because that way it will tell the NCAA committee, look, you should have chosen us.
And that's what they should be playing for.
let's have a little pride here. Let's
Yeah.
get a couple wins on
Get
our
that.
belt and kind of show the NCAA tournament, hey, you might have made a mistake.
Yeah, get to New York. That's what they have
Yeah.
to do. That's what we're looking for. All right, let's hit to some of the promos and events coming up, continuing through the month of March. The Bet 50, Get 50 promotion continues.
It's our standard monthly promotion. Remember, once you bet to 50, you're qualified to get to 50 on the next business day. Take advantage of it. Treat it just like a free bet. And then once you're a Capital Bets account holder, take advantage of all the perks and privileges you have, bankroll, contests, everything else that we offer online, the streaming, the mobile site that we now have available. We have some new features on the mobile site, so m.capitaltvbet.com. So once you're a member, you get access to everything that we offer online.
Yeah, and we should re-emphasize some of the perks that you get.
Player rewards is
Yeah,
another
player
one.
rewards, and you get to play on your computer or your mobile device. We've said it before, free past performances. You pull up the wagering site, there are replays of all the races. So
Handicapping tip sheets, we have a lot of handicapping
Yeah.
tip sheets, along with our 5 wagering platforms that are on. If you're using a PC or a laptop, there's vital information right there on those platforms. I don't know if people realize it as much, because you basically get all the information you would get off the Brisnet Winner's Choice. Also, on the TV and Express, if you click on the horse's name, you're going to get video archives of all of his past performances and his races. There's just a lot of information that's available right there. And the days of having that handicapping piece of paper right next to you is really gone by the wayside.
Yeah, and again, you get the 50 if you bet 50 in, but you get all those additional perks and privileges. And one of those that you mentioned also, the online contest requires you to have an account, and that's a great way to at least toss your money in the hat for some, toss your name in the hat for some free money.
We do a whole variety of stuff throughout the whole year, and obviously we're always pushing the account wagering, but it's a way of taking advantage of having an account, and then you get to participate in everything that we offer.
All right, let's hit on some more of the promos and events. The 2% bonus days continue Wednesdays and Thursdays this month.
Wednesdays and Thursdays. Now, this month is a little different because Aqueduct's not running on certain days, so basically right now it's a 2% is on Gulfstream Park, so it's got to be $250 or more on exotic wagers. Got to be multiples that are exotics, $250 or more. Once you've accumulated that, you're going to get 2% on top of the other rewards that you've accumulated in the monthly program. You get the monthly rewards at the end of the month. If you're not sure if you're on the program or not, if you're one of our newer accounts beginning with an 800 number, you're automatically on it. If you're one of our older accounts, just check with customer service and call them, and they will verify to make sure that you're on the player rewards and take advantage of that. We're going to be doing that through April as well. So it's on Wednesdays and Thursdays, bet 250 or more, multiples and exotics, and that's on top of the other player rewards percentages that you've accumulated.
And we have alluded to it, but Mega March Madness kicks off. You'll be able to come down here and at the Clubhouse Racebook, watch all the games, enjoy all the racing action, and some promos will happen down here as well.
Some promos will happen along with it. First 100 patrons coming in the door, you're going to get a square on the score grid, and then you're going to match the scores on the games that we choose. We're going to choose multiples of the early games. We're going to do halftime scores, reverse score, and then also final, and a reverse on the final. If you match the numbers of those games, you're going to get to spin the prize wheel. There's a variety of stuff on the prize wheel, from vouchers to some other apparel and merchandise. Along with, we have some specific college basketball apparel that we have for a variety of the teams that are in the tournament. And then take advantage of us having all the games on. We've got their sports center area where you can watch all the games. You're going to have, early in the day, you got 3 or 4 games happening in each time segment. And then we have a grand prize drawing on Sunday at 2 o'clock. You get entry slips throughout the whole week, and it's for our amateur boxing event that's up at Saratoga on Saturday, March 25th. So if you're very interested in boxing and love boxing, take advantage of that too. Thursday through Sunday, you get an entry slip when you come in the door. Drawings at 2 o'clock on Sunday. And you get a table for 6, includes dinner, admission, ringside seats, and it's up at the Saratoga City Center. Part of that's a fundraiser for Bob Miller, who's a big promoter of the amateur boxing in the area.
And again, that kicks off with the NCAA tournament. Thursday, Friday games, Saturday, Sunday games, all of those down there at the Clubhouse Racebook if you want to watch them, and all the great promotions that are going to be tied into that Mega March Madness. Tomorrow, Friday, the Bounty Bet continues. We're almost up to $1,700 up for grabs there, and even if you don't get the single ticket, you get a little extra dough for your pick four wager if you're among a group. Nice promotion that's become popular over the last few weeks, the Bounty Bet on Friday.
We do this every other Friday, and each month it varies. We do in-state and out-of-state. This time it's Aqueduct. This is a late pick four at Aqueduct this Friday. The Bounty Bet is $16.83 and change. And remember, it's got to be one account holder takes that down. If there's multiples, 25% gets paid out. Along with your pari-mutuel winnings, 75% gets carried over to the next one, and then we add an additional 500. You know, we haven't had, other than the first opening week, we had 1 week where it didn't get hit. You know, it's going to grow fast if we have a week or two where it doesn't get hit. But right now, we've been getting multiple winners over the last few weeks, which is very good because you get the pari-mutuel winnings plus the bonus that we provide. So, like I said, 25% of it will get shared among those winners. If not, single account holder will take it all down, and it'll start fresh again. So take advantage of that. Once again, that's another account wagering program. So you play that through your account, which you can do it in an easy bet. You can do it at a branch because you can use your account right on the machines, or do it mobile or through your PC and laptop. Just remember, this Friday, late pick four, Aqueduct.
Bounty Bet on Friday, and I'll hit on a couple of events that are coming up, just kind of mark your calendar events. These won't happen until next week, but the Happy Hour Bankroll comes back a week from this Friday, March 24th, and I understand a new wrinkle. The pressure is on. I'll be back in. The bankroll has zoomed up. And more players as well.
Yeah, we changed a couple of things. We pulled the buffet. There's no longer any of the buffets, so we took that money, that portion that we're going to use for the buffet, and we added it to the bankroll instead. So the bankroll is going to be $750. Along with we jumped up the number of patrons that are going to be on board. 30 here in attendance at the Clubhouse Racebook, 5 from online. So a total of 35 in a bankroll. It starts at $750. So we're giving our handicappers more of an opportunity to make money for our patrons, and more patrons involved.
Less food, but more bread for me, as they say. So that's how.
Just got to cash more tickets. You get more opportunities.
Yeah,
now.
We'll see how it works out. It should be fun. Again, that's a week from Friday. That's March 24th, and a week from this Saturday, March 25th. We definitely want to remind you because things happen early in the day, but it's a big day. It's Dubai World Cup Day on March 25th, and there'll be some promotions involved with that as well.
It's a huge day for racing. Yep, we'll open up early. I know Legends here at the Clubhouse Racebook is going to have breakfast specials all day. Also, there's going to be a handicapping contest going to be split between races at Dubai and earlier races at Aqueduct. So come on in. It's a great day of racing. Arrogate is headed to the Dubai World Cup. We know Dortmund's out. Gunnevera's there. And a few other American horses on the docket for that day. It's a fabulous day of racing with that amount of money on the line. $10 million World Cup. I know the World Cup is set for possibly
Gunrunner, not Gunnevera.
Yeah, I'm thinking Gunnevera, the 3-year-old Gunrunner. Yes,
that's stuck in my head too.
I know that's it too. So yeah, Gunrunner, the older horse who's had success here going into the World Cup, but it looks like the World Cup's roughly between 12:30 and 1 o'clock for post on that. But we are going to open early. I believe at
8:30.
8:30 we're going to be opening up. There's a couple earlier races, and then
yeah, it's a big card all the way around. Yeah. And again, that's a week from Saturday, March 25th. And since we're talking about mark your calendar stuff, we were talking before we went on air. The following week, we'll be down in Florida for a couple of days doing this show Friday and Saturday of Florida Derby week. So that should be fun as well.
Be a live broadcast from there. We did it last year. This is our second year. We appreciate Gulfstream Park and helping us on that. And they'll be broadcasting live on Friday and Saturday. Full coverage just like we do up at Saratoga, so it should be very good. And the Florida Derby shaping up to be probably the key race of the whole year for the 3-year-old preps.
Yeah, and they're very accommodating. We use the set that you see Ron Nicoletti and Gabby and Acacia using during the day right outside the paddock. So it was a lot of fun last year. Expect the same this year. And again, they're great hosts, so we appreciate that. Should be, as you say, not only Florida Derby, but a great day of racing. Typically, there's the big undercard.
Yeah, the day before, you got access to Palm Meadows. You grab some interviews and talk to some trainers and owners there. So it should be tremendous. this is something where we're trying to do with our sponsorships that we do with the tracks. At Woodbine, we'll be doing a couple live broadcasts from Woodbine later in the year as well. And it's something we really look forward to. We love bringing those kind of behind-the-scenes stories right to our captive fans here in upstate New York.
Yeah, it's going to be and as I say, that's a couple of weekends away, but mark the calendar. As always, Shannon, people can stop by the website to keep up with the promos and events.
All the details are on the website at capitalotb.com.
Appreciate the visit. We'll talk again next week.
Thank you, Seth.
All right, we will head to a break. When we come back, Jeremy Plonk. Stay tuned. All of that right after this.
Now get all the racing information you need right on your mobile device with Capital OTB's new mobile app. Wager anytime, anywhere, right from your smartphone or tablet. Watch, wager, and win right at your fingertips. The new Capital OTB mobile app. Championship horse racing continues at Capital OTB. There's no better place to watch, wager, and win than OTB TV and CapitalOTBBet.com.
With more than 60 Easy Bet and branch locations throughout the region, you're just a short drive from all the top tracks across the country and around the world. For a complete list of all Easy Bet and branch locations, visit CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB, we're closer than you think. No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. CapitalOTB.com offers live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, and a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform. And best of all, you get track prices. Going on now, it's Bet 50, Get 50. Simply open a Capital Bets account, bet $50, and get $50 cash back. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Night School, Countdown to the Crown, and much, much more. Good morning, Jeremy.
Good morning, Seth. Joining you from the World Igloo, that is Horse Player Now headquarters this week.
When you emailed yesterday, the mountains of Pennsylvania, and I'm assuming just by the description and the geography, you must have gotten hit as bad as we did here in upstate New York.
Yeah, it was ugly. The last count I had last night was about 28 inches. It was still snowing when I woke up this morning. I haven't gone back to measure, so I'm guessing we're probably somewhere just south of 30, and that's not good for a guy whose snowblower broke halfway through the process yesterday. So I've got a lot of handwork to do after the show today, so keep me as long as you want.
Just keep this in mind, though. By next week, you may have to, this may be one of those where you're just able to say, I'll put the shovel away. Just do the imperative stuff to back yourself out of the driveway. And, Mother Nature, about a week and a half, is going to take care of everything, I think.
Yeah, my handicap has been so bad this spring, I almost got the patio furniture out 2 weekends ago. So at least I made one good decision there and decided not to do that yet.
That's pretty good, yeah, because it certainly did seem like, we got away with it this winter. And then I'm with you. I went out last night at about 7 o'clock just thinking, maybe I better get a head start for tomorrow morning. And I'm glad I did. My car was buried. So that took about an hour, and then this morning there was still more out there that I had to clean off. But I said it, that's the nice thing about the horse racing world. I said it earlier, we can all watch Tampa Bay at Gulfstream today and live vicariously.
Yeah, I think it's 91 at Turf Paradise yesterday or something like that. So, yeah, you're never far away from a fast track.
All right, let's get into some of the racing from this past weekend. Again, we were kind of limited on the 3-year-old scene, but we'll also maybe take a little bit of a look ahead and just get some general thoughts as we're well along the Derby trail this year. But among the 2 races that did stand out on the Derby trail this weekend, we'll go down to Tampa Bay to kick things off and watch the Tampa Bay Derby. Number 5, Tapwrit gets it done. Number 8, State of Honor, I thought did pretty well to set a lot of the early pace and hold on for second. Wild Shot ran third. I thought No Dozing was okay. I'd kind of written him off after the bad comeback from the Remsen last year. But No Dozing, I thought, was an okay fourth in here. Beasley, the choice to come over to Tampa Bay, didn't necessarily pay off with a 5th place finish. All of that said, though, still fairly lightly raced for Todd Pletcher. Tapwrit moved up into my top 5 off of this performance. Tapwrit, this was the 5th career start, the 3rd career win. What were your impressions on Tapwrit?
He ran a really good mile and a 16th. I mean, he ran an excellent mile and a 16th. The question is, what's going to go beyond this? When horses make that swooping move on the turn that he did, finish up the way that he did, and then just shut it down right after the wire. I mean, the entire field galloped out past him practically before he hit the clubhouse turn. That tells me he's a shorter distance horse. He's got a really nice turn of foot. He reminds you of a miler. And then when you look at that pedigree, I mean, Tapwrit's had a lot of brilliant milers and definitely can get a classic distance, don't get me wrong there. But Appealing Zophie on the dam side, the successful appeal mare, she was short distance, and I just get the feeling that this race showed the absolute top-rung potential of Tapwrit. That at a mile and a 16th, he looks like he can be one of the best horses of this crop. I don't know that it translates out over a longer distance, and I think Todd Pletcher doesn't know that either, and that's why he's running this horse back in another start before the Kentucky Derby. Remember last year, he won this race with Destin and then just laid off up to the Kentucky Derby. And Destin ran well in the Derby and then ran really well in the Belmont Stakes. So the 2 races that mean the most to Todd Pletcher, obviously, are the Derby and the Belmont. He's not much of a Preakness guy. So that pattern worked really well for Destin last year. And these trainers typically don't get off of, these good career patterns that work for them. They tend to stick with them or at least ride them out for a couple of years until proven otherwise. The fact that he's going to run Tapwrit back one more time between the Derby and now, I think that's pretty significant. I think that tells you he knows this horse needs to run a mile and an 1/8, and I think we as handicappers should make him prove it to us again.
Yeah, a 96 buyer, and as I say, I popped him up into my top 5 on the weekend on the Sunday show. But my concern was just the overall Pletcher kind of thing. Pletcher over at Gulfstream or coming over for some of these Tampa races. He can be very successful, but then you get a few weeks out to the Kentucky Derby and it just doesn't pan out a little bit later on. So I like the way he won, but I will say there's some trepidation for me as well.
Yeah, and look, I say this about horses as we get in different races throughout the course of the spring. Every horse has a Derby. It just may not be the Kentucky Derby. And for some of these horses, a mile and a 16th race worth $350,000, that's as good as it gets. A grade 2, $350,000 at a mile and a 16th. That might be the absolute sweet spot for a batter in the batter's box when you look at a horse like Tapwrit. This could have been the perfect scenario, the perfect storm for him, and the best we'll see of him. We'll have to see, And I talked on Steve Big Show yesterday. We talked about a horse like Cupid. He got the mile and an 1/8 in a lone speed situation in the West Virginia Derby. And if Cupid's ever going to win a mile and an 1/8 race, it was a race like that. So they all have that perfect sweet spot for him. It may have been this race for Tapwrit. We'll have to see. But notice this. The 1, 2, 3, 4 finishers in here all came out of the Sam Davis, a race that was won pretty handily by McCracken. So the big winner of the Tampa Bay Derby, despite not running in it, in terms of at least form flattery, was McCracken. Now, he's got to get his health issues in order, but the result of this race certainly goes a long way, I think, in flattering him. No Dozing, the horse who ran 4th in here, I came back to him because I thought I'd get value again, and he was a decent price at almost 8-1. He ran a decent 4th in here, Seth, but he seems like a horse who, no matter the speed of the race or the distance, is going to run about the same, and that kind of horse plays to the Belmont Stakes. This horse I don't think could ever win a Kentucky Derby. But No Dozing in the Belmont could be one of those 15, 20 to 1 kind of horses in the Belmont that just kind of goes the same speed and runs 25-second quarters for a mile and a half. Is able to put 12 of them in a row together in the 25s, and that's the kind of horse that may win the Belmont Stakes. He's a grinder. He's just not very brilliant.
Well, now I have to ask before we move on. I have your top 20 here from Countdown to the Crown that came out last Friday. You had Tapwrit at 7. From what you're saying, do you move him up off of that, or does he just kind of float around the same spot?
Yeah, he's going to float. I think there's going to be some that below him are going to move up. There's going to be some, now obviously, we're taking out, number 1 or 2 with Mastery altogether from the injury. He's not going to get up above, say, 5 or 6. I have not put the top 20 together because of the snow delay. It's like the schools. I'll call it a snow delay this week, but I haven't readjusted the top 25 yet, or the top 20 yet for Friday. I've gotten the reviews of the races written, but haven't turned the corner to the previews, and the last thing I usually do is the top 20. So I haven't gotten to that yet, but I don't see him moving way forward. I really don't. I think he's a mile and 16th horse. Now, if he goes to the mile and 1/8 race and goes and wins the Wood Memorial, goes and wins the Bluegrass, something like that, Arkansas Derby, then obviously we got time to slide him up there. But for right now, I think he's a mile and 16th horse, and I think that gallop out was really telling. Watch the gallop out in that race in Tampa, and tell me because again, this is a mile and 16th race.
Yeah.
If you shut it down a little bit at the end of a mile and 1/8, maybe say, okay, no big deal. But he should have galloped out stronger than that. I think he ran his race 3 furlongs worth. And horses who have a 3 furlong move in them are middle distance horses.
All right, let's move on to the San Felipe out at Santa Anita. You have Gunnevera on top of your top 20. I have Gunnevera on top as well. You have Mastery sitting second. And again, this came out on Friday. And I'm curious, you would think after what happened on Saturday, had things played out differently, Mastery would have jumped to the top of a lot of lists. You kind of alluded to it at the head of your Countdown to the Crown column this week, where you talked about a couple of California horses maybe being primed to step out on this crowd, and I think Mastery did on Saturday. Number 4, Mastery, is going to be the winner with a 105 buyer as the 4-5 favorite. Iliad second, Terms of Art third. Gormley, maybe a little bit disappointing as the 2-1 second choice, running fourth. But boy, it's a great performance by Mastery to win. But this just demonstrates, talked about it on Sunday with John White, highs and lows of the game that played out over the course of 3 minutes. This horse wins with a 105 buyer, and on the far turn, Mike pulls up and jumps off, and the horse off the Derby trail with a fracture.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, you want to get excited about horse, and then the rug gets pulled out from you. That's kind of this entire prep season. So now we're coming back to square one. We're trying to figure out, okay, how Mastery, who else is it going to be? Not to dismiss the 2 weeks and a half ago. Horse developed the 31 level Monday, and by all accounts, all this gets recovered. What a great career, one more race on the track. Louis Mastery, all that. He ran a dynamite race that easily put him number 1 on my list, and most everybody else's. I think coming out of this race in the San Felipe, it was a dynamite effort. He went in fast split. He continued to run on real well. He did it in good time. It's effort. The horse is unbeaten. And we talk about, every winner in the game was unbeaten. The 3-year-old Eddie Scored at Law on the trail last 6 years. No, he went that well. He was a favorite, and would have went to Kentucky as, a 5-2, 3-1 kind of favorite probably on Derby Day. But that's not to be now. And, I picked against Mastery and went with Iliad in this race because of some concerns I've had all season long with Mastery's workout tab.
Yeah.
This is a horse who, we mentioned it when the Bob Lewis came up in February. Where's Mastery? For the last 2 years previous to that, the Los Al Futurity winner, trained by Baffert, came back and made the 3-year-old debut in the Lewis. Mastery, after winning the Los Al Futurity, was back on the workout tab 15 days later and working towards his next start. That's not the pattern for a horse who's not going to run till March. I mean, if you ran December 14th, you wouldn't come back and work December 29th. If you're planning on giving the horse time off and coming back in March. The plan was to run this horse earlier in the winter. I am thoroughly convinced of that based on Baffert's history and based on the workout pattern. But then there were these gaps in the workout tab with Mastery, and sometimes they were blamed on weather, but then there'd be 14 days between a work. If you get bad weather, maybe the work gets pushed back a day or two, But everybody kind of bought the story that, okay, well, it was just the weather. He'll work again next week. Usually a weather delay, it dries up in 2 days, and you're back on the track, and you have your workout then. I just don't think the winter has ever gone right for Mastery, and I don't think he was right for, a decent part of the winter. Now, I'm not saying Bob Baffert ran an injured horse or anything like that, but this horse has had something nagging him and bugging him, it seems like, since after winning the Los Al Futurity. And And it's sad to see it happen on the racetrack where, he has to pull up and be banned off and come down with the fracture. But things just weren't right all along for this horse. And that's why, he, for me, for much of the winter, if you go back and look at the last several weeks, Mastery was kind of like number 6, number 5, number 7 on my list when he was kind of 1 or 2 on a lot of others, because I just thought there was a lot of uncertainty there. Then other horses lost, and other horses got injured and slid further down the hole. And Mastery just kind of kept sliding up because he was still in the clubhouse and hadn't run yet. And then the works were getting better as he got closer to a race, and then you started to think, okay, well, Backford's got this horse back and ready to go. And he obviously did have him ready to go because he ran a dynamite race. But this is by no means an I told you so and a victory lap and being correct or anything like that. But I was not surprised when I saw something happen to a horse who's had a sketchy winter. And so, I wish the horse all the best, but this was a situation that, you had to be a little bit concerned going into this race for Mastery, and it turned out that way, and I'm sorry to say that it did.
No, you kind of lined that up for us a few weeks ago when he missed that earlier prep out in Southern California. And as you note in your original Horse Player Countdown to the Crown package that comes out at the beginning of the year, you look historically at a lot of the prep races, and this is part of that. Baffert comes out of the Los Al Futurity and will typically go to one spot. And so when he doesn't, that can tell you something. That can give you a message. When a trainer has a pattern that historically he follows, when he doesn't, that raises some red flags.
It should. And in some cases, it may not necessarily raise a red flag. It may be a positive sign, just like we thought with Fletcher, The Tampa route worked well for him last year with Destin. It turned out good to be a major placing in the Belmont Stakes. And now he changes that pattern up for this horse. So, every horse is different and every horse is an individual. But again, that workout path can give you so many clues. And people say, without a workout report, you really don't know how the horses are training and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, okay, I get some of that. But for an old school handicapper, even somebody who's been doing this for more than 10 years before workout reports became easily available and prevalent on the internet, it's about the pattern and workouts. When horses are healthy and doing things right in their training, they're going to work every 6 or 7 days. And if you see a gap in the workouts with these good horses, with the lower level claimers, it's different. But with the good horses, if they're not working every 6, 7, 8 days, then something happened in between. And when you start to see patterns where there's been 2 or 3 workout gaps that are a couple weeks apart, that means the training was interrupted at some point, and it's more than weather. I mean, I know that a trainer is never going to tell you, we had a little niggling problem with this horse, and that's why they're not, they didn't work this week or whatever like that. If there was bad weather, they're going to tell you it was the weather, and it's not their job to give health reports on owners' horses out to the general public. So, we don't always get a straight answer. But the one thing you can look at is that gap in the workout tab. The spacing in the workout tab should be consistent. And when a horse works, fairly quickly, a week or 2 after their previous race, that means they got something else next in mind. It's not like they're going to be laid up for 3 months for their comeback race. And since Mastery worked 15 days after that race at Los Al, you can tell right then that the intention was not to run 3 months from now.
And again, you can look at those patterns and kind of decipher things from those as well. And just tying in, you alluded to it a moment ago, but I had John White again on Sunday, and he said it in his online column a couple of times over the past few weeks, and you said it in Countdown to the Crown. You say, this is the least confident I have felt in many years, regarding the fact that when we get a King of the Hill one week, and 3 or 4 weeks later, he is dethroned in some fashion that says, now I'm not sure what to do exactly with this horse. This weekend, it was for about 3 minutes, for about 30 seconds, we had the King of the Hill, and he was dethroned, which has just been kind of the storyline of the Derby Trail this year, which is going to make handicapping the Kentucky Derby all that more difficult.
Oh, I agree with that. And, what's today, about middle of March here, March 14th or 15th? I'm going to call it right now that this is a Giacomo kind of Derby. And I'm not saying the horse has to be 50-1, but this is the kind of Derby that is going to be won by some steady Eddie horse who doesn't have a glaring resume, but just keeps kind of coming a little bit. Because, even McCracken, as good as McCracken is, and if they get him back, great, McCracken's got a mile and a 16th kind of pedigree about him. We still haven't seen him run beyond that to this point in his career. And you get a horse like Tapwrit. I mean, These are horses that are, that could run the Fleet Alex kind of race where they make that big move, look like they're going to be a winner, a little bit of traffic just stuns them a bit, and it just opens up for something else. The speed is not good enough to wire at 1.25 miles this year. We do not have classic kind of speed. This is not a big Brown, Dortmund, American Pharoah, kind of real quality speed horses on the front end. You don't have the quality speed that's going to go 1.25 miles. You've got a bunch of talented horses that look like they're going to make a middle move and be best at 1 mile and a 16th. This is a Giacomo kind of year. You find that steady grinder, and he's probably going to be a big price. I'm not saying it'll be 50 to 1 like that one, but that kind of horse is going to win the Derby this year, the way the crop looks to me at this point. And, the fact that, like you mentioned, other people have mentioned they're confused about this group of 3-year-olds. I am definitely confused about them. I'm already starting those wheels of vision and trying to find that kind of horse. And, Term of Art ran that kind of race in the San Felipe for Doug O'Neill. Don't dismiss this one yet. I went back and looked a little bit. You look at the late pace figure, jumped up about 8 points in this race from his previous career high. If Term of Art has another move forward in the Santa Anita Derby and runs second or third and is coming a little bit at the end, don't be shocked if that's the kind of horse we're talking about on Derby Day. And I would not have said that a month ago because, like everybody else, you're trying to find the best horse, But this really looks like a situational kind of Derby. I don't think this is a best horse wins kind of year.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be, as they say, a skullbuster of a handicapping puzzle. All right, let's go to 3-year-olds on the turf because there was one of those stakes on Saturday down at Tampa, the Columbia, $75,000 a mile on the grass. You had mentioned in the countdown to the Crown package, Tiz the Slam, Queen's Plate nominated, also Triple Crown nominated for Roger Attfield. Hadn't been seen since winning the Cup and Saucer up at Woodbine in October. A little bit of a disappointing fifth in the field of 10 for that one is the 5-2 second choice. The 5-2 favorite, Profiteer from Shug McGahee, 6-1 on the morning line, drifted down to favoritism, winds up second, the number 4 horse, Profiteer. The winner is number 9, Sonic Boom, who I thought at 3-1 offered a little value. Sonic Boom was coming out of a good number in the Kitten's Joy. Ran fourth, but beaten less than 2 lengths over at Gulfstream in that stake. But with Julian Lipero on Saturday on board, the number 9, Sonic Boom, gets it done in really a blanket finish between the top 4.
Yeah, this is one I finally got right. It wasn't in Countdown, but it was part of our Stake 8-pack that we have in the Horse Player Now Buzz Report. And I thought Sonic Boom coming out of that race that you mentioned was a pretty good force in the Kitten's Joy. And the fact that Kitten's Cat came out of that race and ran really well in the Palm Beach when just second best at Ticonderoga when that horse really unleashed a big close 2 weeks ago at Gulfstream. Sonic Boom was coming out of what looked like a pretty key race. And I think that flattered Kitten's Cat quite a bit. And I think you should look forward to the Spiral Stakes in a week or two at Turfway. Kitten's Cat is one you're going to have to keep a long eye on there for Ken Ramsey to watch. His form was flattered by this win by Sonic Boom. And I thought the runner-up, Profiteer, ran a pretty good one. This is a horse who had some trouble, lightly raced, coming out of the Tampa ranks for Shug. Profiteer looks to have some future about him. So good effort. And I think you might see a rematch between these two in the Transylvania at Keeneland. It's usually the opening week 3-year-old race on the turf. Sonic Boom, Profiteer, I think both would look good in there. Tiz the Slam for Roger Attfield would probably go back in there. Roger ran in that race last year and won it, with a good one that he was aiming towards the Queen's Plate. So I would think that a lot of what you just saw in the Columbia Stakes at Tampa on Saturday will be rematched in the Transylvania at Keeneland. Yeah,
and as I have said the last couple of weeks, I think this little subdivision is shaping up to be fun again this year. Last year it was a little dicey, but I think this year the 3-year-olds on the turf will be all right. All right, let's get back to the 3-year-olds on the main track and just kind of looking ahead. You made some comments in the countdown to the Crown package this week that intrigued me, and looking ahead to the Rebel. You talked about with things being so up in the air, a couple of Southern California horses that could step forward. Mastery was one you named, and certainly he did, but then the unfortunate ding that gets him off the Derby trail. But this week in the Rebel down at Oaklawn, American Anthem will ship in for Bob Baffert. We're going to go back and watch the Sham from early in January. Gormley, the number 5, is going to be the winner. Number 1, American Anthem, will run second as the even money favorite. And again, he's showing up in what's shaping up to be a nice little Rebel down at Oaklawn. But as I say, this is California.
Yeah, Now you might think he's 9-5. You know, he's still the horse to beat, but more on the lukewarm to solid side than standout. And so I think that's how you have to look at a horse like American Anthem. He's only ended 2 career starts. He's being asked a lot in the 3rd career start going on the road. But there's just so much history there with the Baffert horses running well that you have to take him very seriously. It's going to be a good edition of the Rebel. It's going to be competitive. We're starting to see some intersectional horses come over from fairgrounds for the first time into the Oaklawn Stakes ranks. I think that'll be telling for us. Malagasy's going to come from southern Florida for Todd Fletcher and running the Rebel. That's going to give us that east-central kind of matchup. Plus, you get the West Coaster with Baffert. So Baffert and Fletcher converging in the middle of the country. This is what we want to see on the Triple Crown Trail because it's going to give us a good sense of everything for the first time perhaps this year. And the Rebel has been one of the most predictive races of Triple Crown success. In fact, I will say it's been the most productive race in the last 13 years since Smarty Jones in 2004. You go back and look at the winners list of the Rebel and the horses who've been beaten in the Rebel, and it's an unbelievable cast of characters. I promise you can put the best field together of 12 horses coming out of the Rebel in the last 13, 14 years than any other prep race that you have. I mean, you could put a field together that was, you know, from Smarty Jones to Curlin to American Pharoah to so many other superstars in between. The Rebel has been very telltale in success, especially in the Preakness, looking at Lucky. There's this unbelievable connection between the Rebel and the Preakness. I don't know if it's because of the timing, distances, what. But the horses who have success in the Rebel have success in the Preakness. So this is going to be a really interesting weekend for that race at Oaklawn.
Yeah, that Arkansas Trail has been productive over the past decade or so, no question about it. All right, before we move on, speaking of trails being productive, another point you made in the Countdown to the Crown package this week, because things are so up in the air, looking at Florida, looking at New York, you kind of hinted that maybe you're leaning in favor of some of the horses coming out of fairgrounds, at least giving them an extra look. So I thought we'd pull up the Risen Star while we talked here. Just remind people of that race from a few weeks ago, February 25th. It'll be number 1, Gervin on top. Number 2, Untrapped runs second. Untrapped possible for that Rebel this weekend in Arkansas. Local Hero runs third. Guest Suite 4th, and Motown 5th. But certainly Gervin comes out of this. I think a lot of people, he's on my top 5, and I think a lot of people would agree that given the way things are playing out, Gervin is pretty strong coming out of that fairground circuit this year. But you think the fairground circuit may play a real part in the Triple Crown?
It looks deep. The allowance races going back to late December, early January, the maiden races going back to that same time frame have been consistently productive, and I like what I've seen there. I've seen a lot of fairground horses go over to Oaklawn and the maiden special and allowance ranks. I mean, it's been shooting fish in a barrel for Kenny McPeak to take his horses from fairgrounds to Oaklawn and win just about every maiden or allowance race he's entered in over the past month. So that tells me that the fairgrounds horses are pretty strong. Uncontested going over to running the Rebel, that's going to tell us a lot there. I'm looking forward to seeing that. And when we talk about it, could be a Giacomo kind of year, you know, a horse who just kind of keeps coming. Don't sleep on Guest Suite yet. He's the kind of horse that fits that profile. He's never run a bad race. He hasn't necessarily run a Big Brown or an American Pharoah kind of race, but we don't have that kind of crop this year. And he's one who's got pedigree, and he's just going to keep on coming. I think these fairgrounds horses, Steve's got a couple come-from-behind types, that have been running at fairgrounds and at Oaklawn, Asmussen, I'm talking, that can kind of fit that profile. Gervin is certainly a horse on the upswing. If Gervin goes on and wins the Louisiana Derby, he'll be one of the favorites. If he loses the Louisiana Derby but runs pretty decent, that's kind of what you want, I think, if you're a fan of Gervin, because it's going to help your price. Let's see what happens next in the Louisiana Derby. But I could honestly see maybe 2, 3, 4 horses coming out of New Orleans that I'll be interested in handicapping all the way up to post time for the Derby, you know? Ones that just keep me interested. Let's see all their workouts. Let's see what the price is on the board. Let's see where they draw. I think these fairgrounds horses are going to stay in the decision-making process a long time.
And, Jeremy, got to wrap things up, but I'm assuming there will be a Rebel preview in the Countdown to the Crown package on Friday?
Absolutely. We'll have picks and analysis for the Rebel and then recaps of the races, some that we've talked about here today, and a new top 20. And in a couple of weeks, we'll start thinking maybe Queen's Place a little bit too once we get to April. But a long ways off from that. But, yeah, looking forward to a big weekend on the trail. And, again, historically, this has been the key prep. The Rebel coming up has really made a big dent. So give it a long look here this weekend. Even if you're not a normal Oaklawn handicapper, watch the race, evaluate it afterwards, and take it very seriously in your thoughts moving forward.
Jeremy, as always, appreciate the conversation. Look forward to talking again next week. Take it easy on the shoveling.
All right, and let's root for sunshine.
There you go. 2-1 on the sunshine. Let's make even money.
We need melding big time.
I like that. Jeremy, appreciate it. We'll talk again.
Take care.
Jeremy Plonk, horseplayernow.com, Night School, Countdown to the Crown, and much, much more. Yeah, and I pulled up the barn notes from Oaklawn and the probables at this point for the Rebel. American Anthem, looking at Lee, Malagasy, Petrov, Royal Mo, Silver Bullion, Silver Dust, Uncontested, and Untrapped. Should be a nice addition. The Essex is also on the card for older horses. The Azeri is on the card. It's going to be a nice card. At Oaklawn this coming weekend. We'll talk a little bit about that with our Oaklawn guests this week coming up on Friday as well. But in the meantime, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll shift our attention to Mahoning Valley for Wednesday afternoon. Get some ideas there from John McGarry right after this. Stay with us.
Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey, we've got a new show.
We do.
Absolutely, and they're off right here on the OTB TV network Sunday mornings.
What's it all about?
It'll be a lot of fun. Fast-paced, plenty of topics, guests, handicapping, commentary, and maybe some opinions.
I have opinions on my opinions.
And we will have plenty of them because you're on the show. And they're off Sunday mornings here on the OTB TV network, 10 a.m. each Sunday. Should be a lot of fun. Anthony Mormino, Seth Merrow. We'll see you there.
I'm sorry, I went... Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit RTN.tv. RTN, a breed apart. Not at the track and not near a computer? No problem. Wager with Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System and you'll never get shut out again. Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System is quick, simple to use, and guarantees your wagers are accurate and placed on time. For more information, visit CapitalOTB.com or call Capital OTB's customer service hotline at 800-292-BETS. Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System. Never get shut out again.
Morning, John.
Good morning, Seth. How are you doing today?
Very good. We dug out here, and I was watching you guys yesterday. You had some snow, not at the level we had, luckily. So you guys ran yesterday, but give us a little update on your weather.
Well, we've continued to have snow throughout the evening, and it's still snowing as we speak. But we are going to run. The track is fast. Temperatures in the low 20s, and the wind's about 15 to 20 miles per hour. It should be a pretty strong headwind in the stretch.
All right, let's start things off by taking a look at race number 2 today, maiden special weight event, a quick 5.5 furlongs. What did you think in the second?
Well, you know, there's a field of 7. 4 of them are first-time starters. I'm going to talk a little bit about 2 of the first-time starters. I landed on the 1. You get 2 for the price of 1 for owner-trainer Noel Sanchez, but the 1-horse Divine Holiday was a reserve not attained through 2 sales as a yearling and 2-year-old, but has been working very strongly in Kentucky at the Thoroughbred Training Center and the son of Divine Park. Certainly, on paper, has a decent pedigree. I don't know what he was purchased privately for, but I know he's been working very strongly. And according to what I've heard from the backstretch rumors, this guy can run a little bit. And Noel Sanchez seems to like him. Let's go with Divine Holiday at 2-1. The horse that's the morning line favorite in that race is the 4 In Jazat, one of the Shadwell Farm cast-offs that was purchased at the Keeneland Horses of Racing Age sale this past January. $6,500 was the purchase, has been working strongly. But I've seen this horse work in the morning. He doesn't travel all that well. And John Barrett, who is the owner-trainer, he's purchased at least 3 of them that I know of from that sale. 2 of them that have already run, and they haven't run that well. So I'm going to try and beat this one, who is listed as the 8-5 favorite in the morning line. So I'm with the 1, Divine Holiday, in the second.
All right, let's move on to race number 6 on this Wednesday afternoon. It's a calendar condition claimer. The tag's $4,000. The trip, 3/4 of a mile. Your thoughts on race 6?
Well, the only cause for concern I have here is the way the track's been playing. The track's obviously not frozen, but very hard, and it's been very pro speed. The horses that have been able to win from off the pace the past week are the ones that have been able to sit on the inside and move up in the stretch along the inside. I went with the 2-horse, Peppermint Prince. I'm not a big fan of some of the horses that are the morning line favorites in here, so I landed on the 2, Peppermint Prince, coming out of what I feel is a very strong race for a non-2-4 claimer. The winner, Abra, was a class dropper for the high percentage and successful Roberto stable. That's Sharon and Lewis. The runner-up was a horse called Malibu Mogul, a recent purchase from California by Eddie Clauston. Of course, Eddie's very, very aggressive in reaching out to purchase horses from different racing jurisdictions. He bought 2 of them. One of them was Malibu Mogul, paid $8,500 plus shipping for the 2. Malibu Mogul was 1-5 in a 4 claimer the first time he ran here and went easy. And Abra and Malibu Mogul were much the best in that March the 8th race. And Peppermint Prince broke slowly from an inside post, never really got involved, but showed some interest late. But like I said, that was an exceedingly tough non-2 in a year 4 claimer. I think Peppermint Prince has a lot of upside at a square price. The race before, he finished 4th behind Tacky Angel and President Course. They finished 1-2. In fact, the 3rd place finisher, Crimson Comic, finished 3rd yesterday in a non-2-4 claimer in a year. So I think Peppermint Prince is facing softer today and will be a big price at 8-1.
I like it, 8-1 on the morning line. Race number 8 this afternoon, another calendar condition claimer. Again, the tag's $4,000, and again, the trip 6 furlongs. Your thoughts on the 8th?
Well, I think the favorite in here in the morning line is very vulnerable, shipping back here from Turfway Park. That's the 7 Crazy Wild Best at 3-1. I landed on the 8, Eurona. 8-year-old mare showed some signs of life last time out. She circled up with a strong mid-race move to challenge for the lead on the far turn and was right there until about 150 yards out. And then she got a case of the wobbles and checked in 4th. Just missed the place spot by half a length, though. It was a much improved effort for her. Terry House is back aboard for owner-trainer Shane Speed. His barn was ice cold in January and February, but has been thawing out of late, you might want to say, and his horses have been running better. And I look for Eurona in a moderate group to be the value play here at 6-1 in the morning line.
All right, sounds good. John, as always, we appreciate the visit. Stay dry, or as dry and warm as you can. We're in the downhill slope here in March. But again, always appreciate the racing at Mahoning. Nice big fields, plenty of value. So good luck this afternoon. We'll talk again next week.
Absolutely. Thanks.
John McGarry from Mahoning Valley. And before we wrap things up, just pulled up the NTRA top 10 from this week. And again, at this time of year, there's an overall poll and a 3-year-old poll. 3-year-old poll this week. I'm just looking. There was, with the Tampa Bay Derby, there was a significant change in here. The top 5, McCracken was 1 last week. He stays 1. Gunnevera was 2 last week. He stays 2. The filly, Unique Bella, was 4 last week. She moves up to 3. Mastery was 3 last week. He moves down to 4. But zooming in, 15 last week, and now number 5, Taprit, off the big performance in the Tampa Bay Derby. So top 5, McCracken, Gunnevera, Unique Bella, Mastery, Taprit. The remaining 5 of the 3-year-old poll, Classic Empire, J. Boy's Echo, One Liner, Gervin, and Practical Joke. On the overall poll, again, weekend results did make a difference with Arrogate remaining at number 1. But Shaman Ghost, with the win in the Big Cap out in Southern California, it moves from number 5 to number 2. I was a little bit surprised. Gunrunner moves from number 3 to number 4. Songbird was number 2. She moves number 3. To me, I would have it Arrogate, Gunrunner, Shaman Ghost. And given that Songbird hasn't run yet this year, I wouldn't mind having her in fourth. Tepin sits at number 5. There's your top 5. But Shaman Ghost bounces up off the weekend on the overall poll, and Taprit jumps up. All right, I'm happy to you. Yes, all events on the show, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's some promotions here at the Clubhouse Racebook tied in with the availability of the basketball games and all the great racing action. Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. And don't forget, Friday, the Bounty Bet continues. Well over $1,600 up for grabs. More information about that promotion at capitalotb.com. Thanks to our friends at Gulfstream Park for their sponsorship of this program, some of the other programming and events here at Capital OTB. Gulfstream Park, champions start here. All right, I'm going to wrap things up for this edition of Racing Across America. Don't forget, take it easy today. As I said, I drove in a couple hours ago, and the side roads are still very dicey. The main roads are okay, maybe a little snowy, but okay. But you would think by this afternoon, crews will have things pretty much cleared up, except side roads are, as I say.